the Gold Coast Ghana, and the transatlantic slave trade. For centuries, the coastline of present day Ghana, once known as the Gold Coast, was home to thriving kingdoms, prosperous trading communities, skilled craftsmen, and rich cultural traditions. Long before European ships appeared on the horizon, people lived from the land and sea, building strong societies connected by trade routes that stretched across West Africa. Gold, ivory, kola nuts, textiles, pottery, and handcrafted goods moved through vibrant marketplaces, reflecting the wealth and ingenuity of the region. In 1471, Portuguese explorers arrived on the Gold Coast, beginning a new chapter in history. A few years later, in 1482, Elmina Castle was built to protect the profitable gold trade between Europe and West Africa. At first, commerce centered on gold and other valuable goods, but over time, international demand changed the nature of trade. European powers established more forts along the coast, and the Gold Coast became one of the most important centers of Atlantic commerce. As the 16th and 17th centuries unfolded, the transatlantic slave trade expanded. Millions of African men, women, and children were captured or sold into slavery and transported across the Atlantic Ocean. Elmina Castle became one of the major departure points for this tragic chapter in human history. Within its walls, countless captives waited in uncertainty before being taken through the castle's ocean gate to small boats, which carried them to ships anchored offshore. For many, it was the last time they would ever see their homeland. The voyage across the Atlantic separated families, destroyed communities, and forever changed the lives of millions. Those who survived arrived in the Americas, where many were forced to work on plantations and in colonial economies. Yet, even in the face of unimaginable hardship, they preserved their humanity. They carried with them their languages, beliefs, music, craftsmanship, agricultural knowledge, and cultural traditions. Across generations, African heritage continued to shape societies throughout the Americas, leaving a lasting influence on culture, religion, cuisine, music, and identity. Resistance also endured. Families protected their traditions, elders passed knowledge to younger generations, and communities found strength in unity. By the late 18th century, resistance by enslaved Africans, together with growing abolition movements in Europe and the Americas, challenged the slave trade. During the early 19th century, many nations gradually abolished the transatlantic slave trade, marking an important turning point in the long struggle for justice and human dignity. Today, Elmina Castle stands not as a place of commerce, but as a place of remembrance. Its stone walls preserve the memory of millions whose lives were forever changed by the transatlantic slave trade. Visitors from around the world come to learn, reflect, and honor those who suffered. Historians, educators, and museum guides continue to preserve these stories so future generations can better understand the past. Many descendants of the African diaspora have returned to Ghana to reconnect with their ancestral homeland. Through remembrance ceremonies, cultural exchanges, and heritage tours, they rebuild connections that span centuries. Festivals such as the Bakatwe Festival celebrate the living traditions of Ghana's coastal communities, reminding the world that the nation's culture remains vibrant and resilient. On March 6, 1957, Ghana became the first country in sub Saharan Africa to gain independence from colonial rule, inspiring freedom movements across the African continent. In 2019, The Year of Return welcomed people of African descent from around the world to reconnect with Ghana, strengthening bonds of remembrance, healing, and shared heritage. The story of the Gold Coast belongs not only to Ghana, but to all humanity. It reminds us of the extraordinary resilience of those who endured suffering, preserved their identity, and passed their heritage to future generations. History cannot be changed, but it can be remembered with honesty, compassion, and respect. As the sun rises over Elmina Castle and the Atlantic Ocean once more, it symbolizes renewal and hope. May the lessons of the past inspire us to protect freedom, uphold human dignity, reject injustice, and build a future founded on understanding, reconciliation, and peace. By remembering those who came before us, we ensure that their stories continue to educate, inspire, and unite generations across the world. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, please like, share, and subscribe to Royal Crown Digital for more cinematic documentaries exploring the rich history of Africa and the world. Your support helps preserve history, educate future generations, and bring more untold stories to life. Until next time, thank you for being part of this journey.